So, welcome to our listeners. Our focus today is on the Willow Waterhole, which is in southwest Houston, and our guests are Daniel Milikin, the executive director, and Austin Perez, who is our conservation educator at Willow Waterhole. And my name is Kay Swint, and I am connected with Neighborhoods to Trails Southwest as being a very long-term resident here. And our theme, I got it from an article that I read on your spring newsletter. And Daniel, you had written a letter in there, and you had said something, you'd used the term imagine more. And so that's going to be our theme today.
I love that. Yeah.
So I loved your article. So why is it a special place now? And what could we be? Where are we heading? So that's what we're really going to focus on. You know, I was going to say, Willow Waterhole has an amazing history. But if we dedicated time to that, it would take all this time and more. So we'll save that for another episode. But we're just going to focus on imagine more for today.
That sounds great. I do want to say historically, the shining thing is how the community came together to fight not just for, water easement or flood control, but like a beautiful nature space, totally community driven. That's the history part that I always am so amazed by.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And just to add to that, I do remember hearing once when the Kinder Foundation, I guess, was your first big endowment at Willow Waterhole. And I remember hearing, I was at some ceremony, and I guess it was Rich and Nancy. I hope I got their names right. But one of them said this was the most amazing set of volunteers that they had encountered in their work here in Houston. So
that's awesome. Yeah, a lot of hours, a lot of passion. So cool.
Yeah. So let's get started. And I think, Daniel, we'll start with you and then go to Austin. But I want you to help us know you better. And so you're going to tell that story any way you want to tell it. But I hope at the end they'll know a little bit about your life and what drew you to this work and what attracted you to this position that you have. So, Daniel, we'll start with you.
I find it like this true thing in my life that the stuff that I loved as a kid, I still love. I mean, I was foraging with my mom. We didn't call it foraging. It was just like snacks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We went outside. We went hikes. Our vacations were usually to medium distant nature places like Natural Bridge Caverns and Hot Springs, Arkansas, stuff like that. And that still becomes like what I get excited about. I get excited about the minutia of nature. I mean, we were talking butterflies before we came on here, and flowers are great, but put butterflies with them, and now you have these two pieces of just beautiful color. So I went to high school in Houston, in middle school. I was born in College Station, ninth generation Texan, talk about it all the time. Those early Texans were not like award-winning, character all-stars. But they were here early.
I'm an eighth generation
Texan.
That's why I laugh.
Yeah, there's some good ones, but then there's some tough ones, I had a friend who's big into genealogy, was like, wow, you come from a long line of killers. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm not after that. So I love this space. I love the state. I love the city. And there's just seeing the life kind of abundant that's in there at Willow Waterhole. That sings to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what really draws me to it. I used to walk my dogs there before the paved sidewalks. We would just go down by Willow Lake and walk around. Mm-hmm. And now I have different dogs because those dogs have passed away, and we still love doing it. So,
it just made me think. You grew up in Texas. What are the main ways that it's changed that makes you think that this work is really important to capture some of that from that time?
Yeah, cities just, the way Texas has changed is the way a lot of places has changed. Cities are growing so big, so fast. People don't touch nature as much as they should, in my opinion. I don't want to should on everybody, but that is like something that's happening. I think our phones have taken us more into our couches. And so getting out, walking around, and maybe like enticing them to come out with their phone is something we want to do. As kind of cities grow, more people move up and up and up. Houston's uniquely situated because we don't have a bunch of little parks, neighborhood parks. That's something that we need to improve. But we have these like real jewels, like Memorial Park, Herman Park, Buffalo Bayou Park, the Hill at Sims now, Emancipation Park now, Mason Park, Willow Waterhole. There's all these like big, unique spaces where you can go and get kind of like lost and enjoy and spend your day. And other cities don't have like that many of those. They have 2 or 3. And so that's one thing that has changed is we are known nationally as a city as being very, very good at public-private partnerships when it comes to green spaces. And that's one thing that's really improved and growing and changing is we have a lot of folks who want to support that. Because when it comes down to it, every dollar spent on parks is a dollar for community health, it's a dollar for economic development, and it's a dollar for ecosystem services.
Yeah.
And
It reminds me of the livable cities concept.
absolutely, that's a great call. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, people need places, they need green spaces, they need places to gather, they need places to protect the habitat. And so you're saying we've done a pretty good job recently, I guess.
We're getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not living in denial that this is a human need and a human right.
Yeah.
And, not getting into the rights of the wildlife.
Yeah.
They have their own rights.
Okay. So, Austin, tell us a little bit about your life and what brought you here and why you have this job now and, what you're enjoying about that or see as important about that.
Okay. Man, where do I start?
His boss is right here. So
I know.
Yeah. I would say like my start and interest in the outdoors and the environment. Similar to Daniel's is like whenever I was a little kid, constantly outside, playing in the grass, picking blackberries out of a little patch I had in my backyard and, throwing bugs on each other,
Spear grass. Ever do the spear grass?
No,
Oh.
that sounds funny.
We'll do it. We'll do it next spring.
And then going fishing, that was like a really big thing that really kind of connected me to nature. And it would always drive me to like want to be outside and like want to go camping. And like, I remember I would be so excited to go to all these different places to go camp because I knew we could go fishing there. Like if we couldn't go fishing there, I was not excited to go camping there. Like that was my thing. And so fishing really drew me into being on the outdoors. And as I grew up, especially when I went to college, I put it off and try to focus more on school. And I eventually got back into it after college when I was like, okay, now I have a little bit of free time and less responsibilities in a way.
Maybe mention what you studied in college because it ties.
Oh
to
yeah,
this.
I studied marine biology at Texas A&M in Galveston.
Yeah.
Because I was still fascinated by fish, the ocean, the wildlife, and everything that has to do with water, really. And I actually got my start in environmental education at Galveston Bay Foundation with Cindy Willems. She was my high school aquatic science teacher at Dobie. And I remember at that time, I was actually like really confused and I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was in the auto tech program and I did an internship there for like 6 months. And I was like, this kind of sucks. I don't like it. It's hot. They're taking advantage of me. I'm not getting paid well. I'm getting paid minimum wage doing the same work that people were getting paid, livable wages to do. And so I was just like, what am I doing here? So I was still in high school. I quit the internship and I was like, well, I was also in the aquatic science class and I was like, okay, well, I do like this class, where can I go with this? And then that's when Cindy told me how she went to A&M Galveston and I just kind of followed that same path. And I remember graduating, it was really hard to find a job in like 2018. And it's so funny thinking then it was hard to find a job when it's extremely hard to find a job now. I shot my shot with so many different places, and eventually I just started working at T-Mobile because I needed, some money. And at the same time, that's when I started Galveston Bay Foundation, and I worked with them up and through the pandemic, and then the schools closed, and then it was like, okay, well, we can keep you for 5 hours a week, or you could get the unemployment insurance or checks, and that during 2020 they were paying out like extra, like almost double the amount you would get for unemployment. So I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and cash in on that, because me and my wife had just moved into our own place together, and bills were much more than when I was just living with my parents. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to do anything I can. And so I did that. I remember I did canvassing, and that's when I fell really ill with leukemia. And then I spent the next, several years of my life trying to figure all that out, worked odd jobs here and there. And then I eventually started doing substitute teaching, because that was like I could pick my schedule. It was really flexible. And if I got sick, I could just just put it back up on the job board. And it wasn't like anything like very difficult, because in between that I'd worked another full-time office job, because that's what my doctors allowed me to do. They wouldn't allow me to go play in the dirt. They wouldn't allow me to be around kids at the time. And so I was like, okay, I did office work for a tugboat company. That wasn't fun.
So you had an incredible number of experiences leading up to being a conservation educator, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, it kind of just ping-ponged around until I kind of found the SCA, the Student Conservation Association, and then that's when I started my internship with them, where I was split up between Willow Waterhole and Neighborhoods of Trail Southwest. And that was when I started to get hope that, hey, maybe I can jump back into this field. Like for those 5 years where I wasn't doing anything regarding this, I was like, oh, well, that part of my life is behind me, unfortunately. Now I just got to do regular work like everybody else,
Well, you know what I remember was meeting you was we interviewed a lot of people between Willow Waterhole and Neighborhoods of Trails to look for an intern, and you really had a spark that you loved this work and that you knew a lot. And you certainly helped us focus on the conservation part more than we had in the past. And I know that Willow Waterhole loved you because they offered you this position.
We called dibs, yeah.
Well, you had a little stronger position to hire them than we did, but we were great guys. So we're so glad to see this kind of. I think that people who work for organizations like Willow Waterhole really have a passion about the work. It's not just a job to make money, but it's really a passion about the work that you do that stands out to me when I visit, and as well as the volunteers that I've met there.
I could definitely agree.
The whole nonprofit field has to, and nonprofits lose sight of this, but you have to kind of keep this missional work at the forefront. It needs to be inspiring.
Yeah.
It needs to be like this encouragement that you're making a difference, right? Working at Willow Waterhole makes so many things better, and it just has to be at the forefront. It's why we do the work. If we're not reminded of that, then go to Tugboat, go to T-Mobile sales. Like a lot of organizations forget that.
Yeah.
And I think we're working really hard, and it's something I have to keep reminding myself of why we do it. And there's so many reasons to work in conservation in a nature park that saves people's lives with flood mitigation while protecting endangered and threatened species.
Yeah.
In a lower income neighborhood, like parts of Willow Waterhole touch very low income housing, and that is not something that other parks can say.
So that's the other thing to bring that up. The livable cities concept talks about how you serve people of varying incomes, varying backgrounds, varying abilities, and I think y'all have done. You're describing that. You're sitting right there. You're near things that are affluent. You're near a lot of things that are middle income, and you're near a lot of things that are low income. And then you have this diversity of cultures. When you walk it there at night, you see that. But also talk about the work. I know I'm getting off track a little bit, but talk about the work you did with paving the trails. A lot of people didn't like the pavement. Because they thought it was taking away the natural element, but it served it reached out to a community that not many people serve.
The trails are on purpose ADA, and I think that's a community you're talking about. I will say that a community that kind of like doesn't directly get targeted for concrete trails is just people who don't use parks, right? If you don't use a park, you're not going to choose to go on a surface trail, a natural surface trail. It's a muddy trail or it's a dirty trail. And so if you live in an apartment, you're not used to getting out and walking in nature. Well, here's this like invitation. When I used to design gardens, I would design landscapes and gardens and stuff like that. I always wanted people to invest in pathways because it pulls them to it. It literally would increase their success
I hadn't
with
thought of
their
it
garden.
like that. Yeah.
So they want to start vegetable gardening or wildlife gardening or whatever. All that takes tending, and if you don't go touch it, there's an old saying: the greatest thing you can add to a garden is your shadow.
Oh, I love that.
And that's true for public spaces just as well. But if we don't have visible paths, we're not going to get non-park users to become park users. And that's a livable cities concept. That is a kind of like less wealthy idea. I don't know where to go. So people that are upset about it can add that to the list of reasons that it's important to do it.
Yeah.
The 88 community is the most shut out, the highest barrier community to use natural spaces. And you think of someone in a walker trying to go up a hill, huge danger of falling backwards, right? I mean, wheelchairs also, obviously, but I think everybody thinks of wheelchairs, but a lot of people use walkers. And so if you're going uphill, there's huge danger you fall backwards if that hill is slightly too steep. And so kind of an ADA guideline is 4%. And then we want people to be able to share the space with bikers, dog walkers. So I can't have a 3-foot wide sidewalk. I need 8 at minimum. So that's kind of where we're saying we really wanted to have paved trails. Now, we also really want to have natural service trails. And one lake does have about a mile natural service trail. And there's really no real reason that we can't continue to add natural service trails all over the place. I was talking with an engineer who worked at Baylor University in Waco, and they pretty much just put a sidewalk where desire lines showed up. Desire lines are where people just walk on repeat and make a pathway. And so we need to instruct a couple hundred people that we want to make a trail, and as they just a couple hundred people walk it a couple times a week, we'll get some pretty cool natural service trails that take people down by the lake, take them through a forest, take them to an island, right? Just like all of these things, that these great little minor little ecotones we have that people can go to, but you're not going to go there if there's not a trail.
Yeah. I will say that I walk a lot there, and at night I'm amazed. Since they put those paths in, I see so many more people on walkers, in wheelchairs,
Right.
on canes, or just older people who maybe are a little more frail, and they just have the confidence that it's level. They're not going to trip. They're not going to lose their balance. And so I think it is a big service to the community.
It's a huge service, yeah.
That you did that.
It also, you mentioned nighttime use, and without those paved trails, we would not see an uptick in nighttime use, which means we would not see an uptick in safety. So our reported car break-ins have dropped a ton while traffic's gone up. You think traffic goes up, more car break-ins.
But it's the opposite,
It's
right?
the opposite.
Because there's eyes on the
Yes,
whole
yeah.
place.
And then you get just people feeling safer.
Yeah.
And there's a saying in parks that people can't feel welcomed if they can't feel safe. Yeah. And we just need people to be there. We have security there, right? We pay security on top. Braze Oaks Management District pays HPD officers to be around, and we also pay a few different people to be around, but they're in plain clothes. You wouldn't know if you saw them. They move around, but there's always security there.
That's
and
good.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
It's we want it to be a place that you want to be, that you feel good being.
I was just going to say for myself, I thought about I can think about how I went to school. I have a degree in community mental health, and I'm a nurse, and I've always worked with communities. I've always been drawn to the power of community. But it's like you. I grew up in a small town in East Texas of about 9,000 people in the East Texas Piney Woods area. And a lot of my memories are picking blackberries, riding my bike everywhere. Never did anyone think I was going to get run over, because the whole community was kind of watching. They knew kids would be on the road riding bikes. That's how we got around.
Right.
There was a public lake. There was a public library. And we could get out, and explore nature, and it was wonderful. And so one of the things I've had to deal with growing up and leaving is that people will go, "We cannot believe you live in Houston." It must be unlivable is what they're saying. It's a big city. How do you don't know your neighbors, they assume. You're not getting out in nature. And so I think that's why a lot of people move out to the suburbs. They think they can't have a quality of life in the city. But I think that that's the work that we're all about, right, is trying to build the best of both worlds, to have that kind of sense of community, sometimes almost like a small town in Southwest Houston. You know, we have our different super neighborhoods. We get to know each other. We work in our for not-profits. But, and I think and you need a gathering spot. And you need a recreation spot, and that is Willow Waterhole, you know. And so, and the more we connect it. So one of the other things I want to ask you guys, and this ties to Neighborhoods to Trails mission, but, you know, we're building connections to Willow Waterhole. What would you like to see? What's that next connection you'd like to get that you don't have right now?
We got a couple lists.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
So I want to hear Austin's perspective, but, you know, maybe we can talk about kind of habitat improvement or connection to habitat, things like that. We have multiple lists of different things.
I bet.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like some of the things that we started doing, especially when I got here, was connecting kids to fishing, right? With the fishing clinics. We want to kind of expand on that and do like birding. We want to do foraging, connect the high schoolers with that as well. Just do more of these events that bring the community out and get them connected to nature in all different ways. Improve the habitat around and in Willow Waterhole, so that way we get more birds, more fish species, and that in turn will bring more people out, especially people who really love nature and really love these things. That you know, there's so many ways we can improve, and I don't ever feel like you can ever reach perfection.
Right.
You know, like it's one of those, you know, things that you're constantly not exactly chasing, but like you're just constantly improving these little things. You know, music events, art events, there's so many different ways that we can do it. There's so many plans that we have and things that we're, you know, striving for. I'm really excited for all the things that we have in store.
So I probably threw y'all off a little bit, because really what I was thinking about when I asked y'all that question was ways for people to get here to connect, like through trails. You know, like, like we're hearing that they might build a bridge at some point over, I guess, over South Main. So,
approved project.
so that is approved project.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. And, you know, in different ways we could get from, like, further west, the Fondren Diversion Trail, connecting over to you guys. Where, you know, that's what we want. The reason that Neighborhoods to Trails got started, I was told the other day by Gerda Gomez, who's one of our founders, was she was part of Bray's Bio Association, and she knew people who were at Willow Waterhole, and they were saying, we've got to figure out some way where people don't always have to drive a car to get here. We've got to figure out some way where they could bicycle to get here from Southwest Houston. And so that's what we're really, and now it's not just about getting to Willow Waterhole anymore, but that was our early formative influence.
It's okay. It's okay. You know, we want
We
people
can
to
just
get
be
yeah.
there. That's
Get
do
there.
that.
I have these so Precinct 4 ends at Willow Waterhole Bayou. So we have the Donald Perkins Trail that is a
Right.
great way to cycle from Drop the Creator straight to Willow Waterhole.
Oh,
Get on-
right.
maybe had some pizza, want to burn off your cocktail. But that trail is in Precinct 4. And so I'm like, hey, and then we're in Precinct 1. So you have, you know, these two precincts. So I'm like, all right, who's going to get here first? You know, give me Sims Bayou, give me Bray's Bayou. Who's going to be the connector first? And I think that it's a fun challenge to try to like keep considering that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about, you know, this Union Pacific Railroad that goes by us and goes straight to Memorial Park. Straight. It's a curve. Okay. But, you know, that's where it goes directly. There's Willow Waterhole Bayou that you could walk to Bray's Bayou pretty easily. Now you would just be, you know, stuck there because there's not many bridges yet. But that is one thing that I do love Houston Parks Board work, the
They're
Bray's
amazing.
Bayou project.
They really upped their game in the last several months, but the last couple of years it's been really amazing.
Definitely. And, you know, they're doing McGregor Park redo, which is another great spot on Bray's Bayou. And so to me, I'm thinking and hoping that once they get some of that Bray's Bayou part done, we see Willow Waterhole increase. Willow Waterhole Bayou kind of increase to invite people over. And it's a perfect invite because, you know, it's named
They're
after us.
building a bridge over Willow Waterhole right now.
Yeah.
The bayou. You're going to be able to get on Brace Bayou and head either, I guess, so you head east. That's from my perspective. And they're going under that Post Oak access lane from 610. They're going to go under that, so you're not going to have to get in that traffic.
Yeah.
And they're building a bridge over Willow Waterhole Bayou, and then they're going to go on over to Stella Link and that kind of stuff. But from there, that's how a lot of us pick up and drive to ride our bikes over to Willow Waterhole.
Yeah, that's great.
Through the neighborhood.
Come through that little neighborhood. Because
Yeah.
there is that one road that comes under 610. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
It's
Post
like a
Oak's going
tunnel. Not Post Oak. It's goes under it, and it's due south of the eastern side of that like retention pond that's in the southwest corner of 610. I've ridden my bike here one time from that direction.
I'm trying to think about the tunnel.
Went to
I can't
Coffee
think.
Trend
Yeah.
and then came over here.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're. Yeah, it goes. I don't remember the name of the road, but
Yeah.
that's part of our way we get here.
But it's a straight little shot
Uh-huh.
straight here that keeps you.
Yeah, you start out by the synagogue there, that's near Braeswood, and
By Tapesters.
and by Tapesters,
Yeah.
and then you go underneath. Yeah, so we're really interested in doing that. I guess I got us a little off mark. I did want to say, let's talk about, aside from the organized events that you do. Think of things. People think you just go walk around, but you do people can do other things without joining a group, joining an event. I mean, some of the things that I do besides cycling and walking is photography, and I'm not a particularly good photographer. I'm just talking about using my iPhone, but I just like to. What are the other things do you see people just doing on their own capacity?
Well, photography is definitely an easy one there because there's so many different scenic views that you can pick and choose from. There's in between the forested sections of the lake, there's like a clearing of where it's just open, so that way you can take and just view these great little picturesque moments. And especially if you hit it like during the golden hour of the day. I mean, it's just the work is there. All you got to do is pick up your phone and press the button.
We got great things to take pictures of also.
Oh yeah, there's tons of birds.
Was down in some of our short grass, kind of like not quite yet prairie on a hillside on one of the lakes, and there was a bug on my water bottle that I had never seen before.
Oh, really?
Little wing bug, I guess a lacewing, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. But it had this long tail, really cute little thing. But I was like, oh my gosh, here's a bug I haven't seen.
Yeah.
We did a big sit recently, and we'll do them again. And we counted almost 60 birds. And really, golden hour, post sunset, post sunrise, pre sunset is when all the birds came out. Like 80% of the birds we saw. So like bring a chair out
Yeah.
and sit there at sunset, and you will see so many birds.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you'll-
an amazing birding spot. Right? Someone told me it may be the best birding spot in Houston in terms of number of species.
in the city
definitely
limits.
within the city limits
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. Like I
And
mean,
we're a pretty good birding area anyway, So that's great. And I'm sure there's times when the dropout comes, you really see the birds come. And I saw a black and white warbler last spring. I'd never seen one before, and it was just a cool thing to see.
That is so
it just
cool.
happened onto it. The other thing people do, kayaking. I see this guy out there kayaking every Monday morning. You'll have a good place next to your fishing pier where people can drop their kayak in.
People don't realize that we have 2 reserved spots just for kayakers
Yeah, I
that are
didn't know
directly
there-
above the fishing pier.
Yeah.
And we're always wanting to improve that launch, make it easier for people to get in. And I would say our space is very weather dependent. So if it's a breezy day, it's less fun to kayak, And so watching the weather before you come out. Now, no matter what the weather is, you can come out and enjoy the day. Just the kayaking may be a little intense. You get a better workout.
yeah,
You can I see people stand up paddleboarding there.
yeah, and
I can't imagine a better place to teach a kid to ride a bike.
yeah.
So I have an 8-year-old granddaughter. That's where she got confident. She had learned to ride somewhere else, but I take her there, and by the time we circle all the lakes, it's been a ride. But that is her happy spot just because she can ride. And now she's talking with her friends, and the dads are talking about bringing other kids over there just to bike because it's so safe to
Right.
ride there. And it's beautiful, and there's places to stop if they need a rest. So that's great.
I mean, there's open spaces too for like lawn games, soccer, you know. I mean, you can go out there and just enjoy the sounds and sights. You can go in there and listen to music. I mean, birding, fishing.
We just talk all the time about, and we have received, Texas Parks and Wildlife grants. It doesn't make us a state park, but like, it's a very state park vibe. So if you are a camper and you really want to have that day and take a break, but you don't have time to make the drive, or you want to put your tent up or whatever, we don't want you sleeping there, Austin. But no, I'm just kidding. But like everything else you can do at any of our nearby state parks, like we want you to do there.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
that's on top of meditation, getting in the woods, like learning about birds. We have outdoor libraries that we're trying to keep stocked with nature and kids book. We need more books.
Okay, that's good. That's something people can remember to bring
Oh, yeah.
over there. I mean, I think that it's also I could if I wanted to, right? Like if I wanted to bring a group of people over to learn how to stand up paddleboard, because I belong to a group that they do things like that. I don't even have to like clear that with you guys, right?
No.
I can just say, let's meet up at this time and we'll slip our boards in and it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of special.
The park is a first come. Most city parks are like this, and we are like a Houston city park. They're first come, first serve. You need the space, you do it. You can reserve space if you're really committed to the event, and you do that. Parks and Rec has a website kind of reservation space. So if you want a bigger birthday party, or you want to have a concert or whatever, you want to do a dance party.
Yeah.
Maybe you're hosting a festival this weekend, and you want an outdoor picnic space. You can reserve space, but no, just you and your
See,
people.
that's great.
And I'll add to that is that the bayou water is not very clean. Now our water it looks dirty. It's turgid, right? There's lots of fine particles in it, but we're clean from a recreational fishing perspective. So you get it on you, you should not be worried about things like E. coli or Giardia or other.
And so that's because why? How
Because
do you know
it's been tested a lot.
Okay.
So lately by Houston Galveston Area Council,
Okay.
and they have a big water quality thing going on. Austin tests it. We'll be testing a lot more in-house at a lot more advanced level. But these bacteria specifically that are not really safe for people to touch the water, we don't have them.
that? Okay, that's good to
And
know.
the reason is because we have this beautiful kind of prairie-like hillside that the water flows through and gets filtered.
Okay.
Living bacteria there, filtering, eating bad things, whatever. But also it's like silt gets taken out, and we have an ecosystem in the water. The reason we have living fish is because they're eating things that are eating things that are eating things.
That's good to know. So I'm torn between what we didn't describe. I got into questions and I didn't get y'all to just give us a sense of what Willow Waterhole is.
Yeah. I'll go.
Yeah.
So we throw around 300 acres pretty often, and so we're this series of 6 lakes, right, that kind of make an H. One of the H's, it's a LF if you Aleph if you know Hebrew, but it's a curving side on the H, and it's these 6 lakes. The park is the area around the lakes. Some lakes that's a big area, some lakes it's just a trail. It covers about 500 acres in total space. And if you made a blob circle, you'd have an elementary school, a high school, 2 churches, 3 apartment complexes, some industry spaces, a convent, and a kind of a old shell facility that feels like a zombie apocalypse training, space. But it is big. It's big. It's a big space.
It is.
9 miles of clear walking. If you want to just park and walk, you have that space. But the lakes, you have this greenery, this greenway around every lake.
You have an urban canopy, right?
An urban canopy, yeah. We have a nice canopy space. The whole space isn't treed, but a lot of it is. But very much like if you went to Livingston or Somerville, that kind of vibe. I mean, most of my friends, when I started and said, hey, I'm working at, Willow Waterhole Greenspace Conservancy, they're like, what's that? But about 20% of them had heard of it, and they're like, oh my gosh, we go there just to chill. We go there to like bring it down, to like we need the vibe. We love the vibe. And I think that's what it has, is this, it's actually nature in action.
It's also meditation in action. I was telling you the other day, I have a friend. He's the executive director of an important nonprofit in town. Love this guy. We're friends. We talk all the time. But I don't talk to him when he's at Willow Waterholes because he's got his rosary. He's a devoted Catholic, and he works hard all day long. And he goes out there and he walks and he says his rosary, and he never misses a night. And he says it's just the only place I can think of that I can do it, and get what I get when I'm doing it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've been told there's angels of protection there. I've been told like there's angels of blessing. Like it's people connect with God at Willow Waterhole, and every holy scripture from Tibetan Buddhism to Christian Bible, it all happens outside. the whole holy book is outside. It's not in a room. It's in this place where God has done His work.
I love that.
It's just
And
this.
it's really true.
Yeah. Just give me an example of inside. Yeah.
So you've outlined the space and the lakes, and then there's the gazebo.
Yeah.
So let's think of some of the features that are there. You've got that gazebo where that's where the music happens for the big event that happens.
Yeah, so Westbury Lake is kind of the primary lake.
Yeah.
And, if you've never been and you're listening to this and saying, okay, I want to go visit, there's a bit of a bat cave entrance, right? You're going to be on a cul-de-sac that's going to end, and you keep going.
Yeah.
We're working on it, but it's that lake has a 110 spot parking lot for you to park. There's shade there, there's picnic tables there, and then you have 2.6 miles of walking trails on that one lake alone. That's also where the fishing pier and the kayak launch are.
But all the lakes connect, right?
They're all
Yes.
connected in
Yeah.
tunnels.
Yeah, so they all have interconnected tunnels, and kind of jumping back to another reason why the water is a lot more safer than say like the bayou water is most of the source from the water is just directly from the rain. Every once in a while, when it rains enough to where it takes on floodwaters from the bayou, it'll go over the weirs into the first two lakes, which would be Heron and Scout, before it travels along into the next few lakes. And Westbury Lake is kind of one of the last lakes it gets to before it goes through all that. So in that time, too, it would have had time for it to settle out, for it to interact with other organisms, break apart, get, distributed amongst the environment. And
Because that's important to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
I hear people wonder about the quality of the water, so it's good that you're explaining that. Yeah.
I mean, a question why the bayou water is so bad is something that Houston Galveston Area Council is working on. We sit on a kind of a council that is determined that, looking into it. It's projected that the reason is unpicked up dog poo, that's
really?
80% of the reason.
Oh, my God.
But that is not it.
No.
That's not it. We have just the same number of irresponsible dog owners as the rest of the
Everybody else.
bayou, right?
yeah.
But we have this clean water.
Yeah.
And what we don't have are treatment facilities or, septic tanks that are overflowing or uncared for, right? That are leaching into it. And so, people want to say that it's not those things. Those are kind of taken care of. It's like, well, we have this massive difference in water safety,
Okay.
but why? So
So we still have to find
so we're
that
working
out.
on it.
So another thing that keeps people from using the lakes. You had a sign up about alligators at one time.
Yeah, I think it's still up.
And so I have people who say, I would never go in that water. I'm afraid of that water because of alligators. I have some friends who, they're very, they perceive danger easily. And then they'll say there's snakes in the water. So talk about that. Like,
I would
I would be
say-
happy to put a kayak in the water. I've done stand-up paddle boarding in the water, but a lot of people are like, that would be crazy. I wouldn't do that. So talk about that.
I've kayaked Armin Bayou, where there's for sure gators everywhere. And
Huge ones.
yeah, huge, massive ones. I've had one bump up under the bottom of my kayak. Never had an issue. For snakes, they're just going to be everywhere. That's
I will say that people might qualify that as an issue.
yeah.
Getting bumped by the gator, and
Yeah.
if you're terrified of snakes, I get it.
Well,
You
we
know?
don't we've never seen an alligator there, for one thing.
We haven't
Yes.
ever seen an alligator.
Doesn't mean it couldn't be, but we
We
Yeah.
have seen nutria that are an invasive mammal that
Yeah.
swim in the water, and I could see someone with an untrained eye being like, "Oh my,
That-
that's an alligator."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know?
especially if untrained eye, even with trained eye, like at a glimpse, you're like, is that a gator? No, it's just a big giant rat.
Yeah. We have them in the ditch by my house, the ditches that run off of,
Sure, yeah.
the bayou. You see them hanging out.
I mean, I don't want to like be preacher or whatever, but like we are making a space where people and wildlife encounter each other.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And that is, we do love our visitors, whatever species they are.
Yeah.
And so we love seeing snakes.
I do too. I'm just saying that's what I don't.
No, but it's okay to not kayak,
Yeah.
Right.
right? But it's also okay to kayak. I mean, a snake is not interested in your kayak. It's not going to jump up in your. These snakes have lots and lots of food there. That's why they're there. You're not on the list.
Yeah. That's good.
So I mean,
Yeah, I just wanted y'all to clarify
No, no.
kind of how
Oh,
you
yeah.
think about it, because
But
I do
people-
have those objections I hear.
people can come to terms with most of the snakes they see are eating our grasshoppers and our mice, right? That are hiding in the tall grass, right? That's why they're in the grass. So they're full. They're full snakes. They do not need you to eat. And then when you're in the water, you're not surprising anybody. I'll say that is hiking through tall grass, you're more apt to surprise a snake than when you're in a kayak, because you're pretty obvious. You're loud, no offense. You're colorful because you're in a colorful kayak. So probably the safest place from snakes you could possibly be at Willow Waterhole is in a kayak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lovely thing would be to have you do some talks with young people and kids. You're a conservation educator, just letting them know a little bit about the species that are here, what they might see in terms of, lizards or turtles or, whatever. And just kind of teaching people about it, because some people said a lot of urban kids have had so little exposure that it's kind of like they think they're going to see lions and tigers and bears when they come to a
wish.
park.
Yeah.
I know we do wish. But just teaching them what is here, the diversity of it. I can see that you could change a kid's life by just teaching them a little bit about what's here.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
fishing is like the conservation gateway,
Yeah.
right? It really is. And I think talking a little about the game you invented would be really cool, because it is really, man.
I'd love to hear that. I don't know that.
Okay, so my game, I made it from pictures of fish from the Texas Parks and Wildlife website. I printed them out on single pages, laminated them, cut them out into shape. Initially, I added paper clips to their mouth, and that didn't work out. So then I stapled their mouth, and then I added a magnet to a fishing pole, and just made it a little fishing game that
cool.
kids can do anywhere. It's very easy. And on the back side of the fish, it will tell you its name, its scientific name, how big they can get, both length and weight. It'll tell you where you usually find them and like a fun fact about them. So it gets them like knowledgeable, and it helps them like recognize, oh, hey, that's, a largemouth bass. Oh, that's a bluegill. That's a channel catfish. That's a blue catfish. That thing gets up to 100 pounds. Like when I tell kids that, they're like, whoa, that's bigger than me. Like, and they're just their eyes light up. They're trying to imagine this monster catfish, right? And
But no, they have no concept of what 100 pounds is. It's just like, that
Yeah.
could be infinity pounds.
yeah, and they're just their eyes are so full of mystery, and then it's a pretty easy game too.
But also,
like you just
kids haven't ever used a reel before or a pole before.
yeah, and it gets them kind of familiar too with like how things work, especially without any sort of like danger element. Right, they're not next to the water. They're not going to hook themselves. It's a good little first step into especially like species identification. Like my belief is that when the more like animals that or even organisms, just any species, you'll start seeing it more, and you'll
that
start
is true.
like picking it out when your daily lives, and then you'll be like, looking out for those things. Like whenever we did our big sit, man, I there's so many birds that I just did not know about. And like now I hear them all the time. I
Right.
see them all the time, and I'm pointing them out constantly to my wife. She's probably annoyed, like, okay, yes, that's a
Mine for
black
sure
belly
is.
whistling duck, red shouldered hawk. Like, I get it, Austin. Like,
So just because I want to give you time to talk about the future, and we've been talking so much about stuff that interests me about what there is right now. But before we move to the future, let's talk about the prairie, the restored prairie, because that's special, and I don't know that people know that that's there.
It's very special.
oh yeah. So we have 2 segments of it, and it's out on Prairie Lake, aptly named,
Which is on the other side of
East
South
of-
Post.
Yeah.
east of Post Oak.
And the side that is closer to the neighborhood was historically more overgrown with forest than the other side, which was mostly used for grazing, right? And so the side that was used for grazing is a lot more pristine in the fact that has a lot less invasive species. It really kind of takes that oh, that's a prairie. You'll see the huge gamma grass. And both segments of the prairies have the endangered Texas Prairie Dawn. They're fenced up and closed, and I would love to do more work to kind of, help remove those invasives and really kind of keep it as pristine as it can be. We just built the new prairie boardwalk that goes through the, I guess, the more northern section of the prairie that butts up against the neighborhood. And that's really cool because normally most people wouldn't walk through a prairie, like especially once it's like, past late spring into the summer and fall where the grass is really, really tall. It just becomes like difficult to walk through. You're getting stickers all over you, and so the trail through it really kind of allows people to immerse themselves into it. And
y'all have signage up talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
some of the endemic things that are only there or not many outside that area, plants and that
I mean,
kind of
it's
stuff.
also federally protected. Like
Okay,
it's
I didn't know
illegal
that.
for people to walk in there.
Okay.
And neighbors have been illegally mowing it, and Harris County Flood Control has not been like arresting them or whatever. But yeah, there's endangered and threatened. There's 2 threatened species also. And endangered means that, the population is close to being extinct, gone. And so, yeah, wild. So a friend of mine discovered the plant there for the first time, walking through
Oh,
with a
really?
couple other kind of conservation employee types. And it was woods with these like big rooms of prairie, but they have what are called salines. They're called saline barrens. They're these little dips in prairies where minerals during light rains flow in. Now, heavy rains, it doesn't happen as much. And so Texas Prairie Dawn is actually, habitat loss is a huge reason, but climate change is really actually a reason that it's really kind of under severe threat is we don't have lots of small rains anymore. And so you have deluges and minerals now flow downstream instead of sinking to the bottom of these, saline barrens. And so it's really kind of a wild plant. It's a plant that's truly showcasing the climate change is having legitimate impact on our kind of ecosystem in this minutia way. The Prairie Boardwalk is gorgeous. It's really a beautiful
I
walk.
did it for the first time the other day, and I took and it's not that long, but I took like 15 minutes it's not a long space, but just reading and watching and looking and, because Houston was prairie. I think most of us know that, but I don't know that the average Houstonian knows how much it was just covered
No,
in prairie.
it was just prairie.
Yeah.
It was not swamp.
Yeah.
It wasn't marshland. It was prairie, some wet prairie. Prairies and bayous, that's what we are.
And we don't have much of the prairie left.
Not
And
in
so
Houston,
y'all-
not in North America.
Right.
Less than 1%
Is that right?
remaining in North America. And if it was a species, it would be like extremely federally protected. You know what I mean? The reason that prairie gets protected is because species get endangered. Species get endangered when they lose 50%. We're down to 1%.
1%. But that habitat helps keep all these other species that are threatened
Right,
a
right.
place that
And
they
it-
need to survive.
That is where homeowners' choices can make what they do outside their front door, either with soil health or planting native plants, is they can connect fragmented prairie pieces together, at least for migrating birds and butterflies.
I think we'll have someone on soon who is the president of the Native Plant Society, Doreen, and she'll talk a lot about how you can do things in your yard to help keep all of this going. I guess I'm wanting to make sure that we cover the future. So, the thing about Imagine Willow Waterhole was, what is it now and what it can be in the future?
Yeah, imagine more. I mean,
Imagine more, right? I'm sorry.
if you go walk around, we have these kiosks. They're bulletin boards, and in every single one of them, there's a survey that we want your input on. It's about programming survey, and we'll have new surveys that come up that'll be about amendment surveys. But we always want to hear from you. I mean, be it social media, email us, go on Google and give us some comments to respond to. We're eager to be not just this shining jewel in your community, but we want to hear from you. We want your voice matters a ton. Upcoming events, we'll take turns. National Trails Day is in June.
Okay.
That is a just get out and walk day. We're doing a sunset hike for all, and we're doing the public grand opening of the Prairie Boardwalk, both on that day.
So when they want to keep up with these events, they go to your website. If they want to go, he mentioned it in the podcast. I'm going to go look in willowwaterhole.org.
Yes, willowwaterhole.org. You can also check out our Facebook, our Instagram, at least with updates to our events.
Okay.
We also have a TikTok and a YouTube, but our events really won't be posted on there. It'll be like post-event photos and
but
videos.
if they go to your website, they're going to find all
Yeah.
of these things that you're about to mention for us.
There's a tab that just says events,
Okay.
and it's got all the upcoming stuff. I mean, Austin kind
So-
of communicates with some of our volunteers that
Okay.
maintain that.
And so, but National Trails Day, what
Fishing clinic.
fishing
Yes,
clinic.
so that'll be June 20th.
Is there still room to get in?
Yes,
to
there is
jump
still
in?
room.
Okay.
For that one, we're doing. It'll be a classroom and it'll be a fishing derby. So there will be like a contest afterwards
great.
with prizes.
And the kids are about what age that do this?
Anywhere between. We recommend 5 on up, but I mean we've had 3-year-olds.
Okay.
And all the way up to adults.
Okay.
After that, we have Rooted in Resilience.
Yeah, Rooted Resilience. I mean, we also do pop-up events that will be last notice. So we'll want to do it, and we'll just say, the weather looks right this weekend. Like it's gonna be a breezy day, so we're gonna do a kite day, or we're gonna have a clear night, so we're gonna do star watching. These are just ideas. We've kind of done that, but always look for that.
And if people
Yeah.
want to keep up, there's a newsletter someone can sign up for?
It's quarterly. We're kind of like
Okay.
consider that more of like a news paper.
Okay.
Yeah, Rooted Resilience. Also mentioned that as a storytelling night that we're doing that in partnership with Drop the Creator, a
Oh,
distillery
cool.
/ restaurant near here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, August 29th. And it's just storytelling. We've all got these stories for floods, and maybe you've moved here from California and you want to talk mudslides, or came from Kansas and, it's hurricanes or
Is that gonna
tornadoes
be
there.
at Willow Waterhole? Or
That'll be
at
at Drop the Creator.
Drop the Creator, that's
Yeah,
the name.
August 29th. And then kind of longer term planning, I guess, Colors of the Prairie is great
Yeah.
to do a little shout out.
Yeah, well, Colors of the Prairies, the Chalk Art Festival, and that'll be November 7th. And that'll be really, really cool. I'm excited for that one.
I love that. I've seen some of the chalk art before at different events y'all have had. It can be very
Yeah, so if you're a chalk
Surprising.
artist, give us a call. We're looking for folks to be involved with that.
Yeah, any conservation organizations as well. We'd love to have y'all out because it will be nature focused, and our theme for the whole event will be pollination. So anything having to do with the plants or the pollinators, be it bats, bees, hummingbirds, anything.
That's great.
And just to sing Austin praises a little bit, is everything he touches is educational. He kind of can't help himself. And so that's anything on social media that he's putting out there. Even our volunteer events, we do monthly volunteer work days, and they end up being kind of like learning days. And so you come and you'll gain knowledge just by coming and helping out with your volunteer hours. So we do those monthly, kind of taking summer off a little bit. So
Yeah,
look
he's
back
kind
at
of like
September.
a young Renaissance man. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, no, I'm not kidding. He's so interested. His mind is so he's a DJ. He's a good DJ.
Yeah, available for booking.
Yeah.
Available for booking. I was watching. I was telling someone about him and said it, and he's also cool. I mean, you know, like he's not just like a nerdy little conservationist. He likes to do DJ work, and he appreciates biking and getting around your community, and you know, it's kind of fun. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. You know.
Thank you guys. That's very. I appreciate the praise.
Yeah. So what? I live about 3 miles from here, and I'm always telling people, "Do you know about Willow Waterhole?" And I'm astounded at the number of people that don't. And then I'll tell them it's right by Westbury High School, but there's different ways that you can get in. So is there anything that you want to end this on that tells people, like, how do you learn? What's the best way to get involved there? What's the best way to learn how to navigate it? Just, are there any things you want to share? Because I think there's still somehow people don't get over there. You know, I mean, I know many, many people who are there, and it's busy all the time, but it still bothers me in my neighborhood 3 miles away how many people have never been over there. So how do we get people over there? I think this podcast goes a long ways for that, but how do we get people over there?
I feel like doing the kind of different events that draw from different communities and different crowds who have all different interests. I feel like that's a really good, effective way, especially reaching all those people who don't know about the Waterhole. I mean, I never heard about it until I started my internship, and ever since then, I've been like telling everybody I know about it. You know, I've had one friend that I know once our latest Instagram collaboration post came out. Where they were like, "Oh, you work at Willow Waterhole? I live right next to there."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like that's my first friend that's like I know that place." And so I of course want it to expand beyond that. I want everybody I know to know about it. You know?
I just think it's we're such a busy society. I mean, people are just, you know, not me so much, I'm retired, but for people who are raising families and working hard jobs, it's just, they just have their head down and they're not scanning their environment for where to relax. And I think those are the people who probably need to come as much as anybody does need to come to kind of just leave that behind for a moment and go over there. And so anything that we can do will
So
help.
effectively, if you want to be happier, smarter, healthier, in better shape, have a better memory, and you know, also maybe be a little bit more tan, this is the place for you. It is one of the coolest places in Houston. But we just, Austin and I and the rest of the staff will just do our mission. That is what we'll do.
Yeah.
You know, we're not, we believe we do our mission, we do what's right, the next time, the next step. We teach these 20 people, these 40 people, these 20 people, and we will grow.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to offer with Neighborhoods to Trails Southwest is if people are wondering how to get over there, if they contact us on our website or if they call me, Kay Swint, we will arrange a bike ride for those people. If they
Yes.
want to bring a community over, if they want to bring one person over, we're happy to show you, start where you live and show you how to get there. We'll find the safest spot for you, whether that's using residential streets or trails. I'm happy to tour anybody over that wants to get over there. If they want to drive, we'll show them how to drive over there. But we want people there. It's, you know, and I will tell you, I'm celebrating my 75th birthday this week. And I'm going to, Pat and I've talked about it. We're trying to define the weather and how hot it is, but I'm going to ride 75 miles, you know, on my bike.
Wow, nice.
But Willow Waterhole, a big part of that, because, you know, I'm going to, like, circle around every single lake that's there and try different trails to get there, and then we'll go all the way down to Mason Park on Brays Bayou, and then we'll be able to go all the way past Beltway 8 now. We just have an incredible system. And I think I'm healthier now than I was when I was working, you know, and I retired 10 years ago because of this availability of trails and cycling and nature. And it's not just turning the wheels. It's getting out someplace peaceful. It's socializing. It's connecting. It's just appreciating. And I feel in a way like I've gotten my little small town back, which is amazing to me because I didn't feel like that 20 years ago. You know.
That's so good.
Okay, so I guess we're ready to close out. Any final remarks?
I would just say, you know, if you haven't been here, come check us out. So much things to do. and there's so many beautiful, amazing
Right.
sights to see.
If you don't have a bike, binoculars, a kayak, a fishing pole, hit us up. We got them.
Oh, that's great
You can
too.
borrow
Yeah,
'em.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're totally
Yeah.
available to
Yeah.
borrow those things out.
Yeah. And just to say, when I said it bothers me that people don't know about it, but when I'm there, what amazes me is how many people are there every single day, every single evening. You know, it's a great place. And then the Music Fest this year, I mean, it was just so much fun to see all those people enjoying
Definitely.
the music.
We're always
Okay.
looking for sponsors for events.
Yeah.
We do want restrooms, and so if you
Oh,
know
yeah.
somebody who's got some big bucks, we have some ideas there. I just wrote a business plan about a
Yeah.
luxury loo that I could also rent out
Oh,
for
that's
events
cool.
and stuff
Because
like
y'all
that.
are going to be designated at some point as a premier park, I think I've heard. So, you know, and
We
that'll
just need
involve getting the
restrooms.
restaurant.
Yeah.
And get the restrooms. Well, thank you guys for coming. It's
Thank
been a good
you.
hour. We appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be here.